Hello. So I have come up with a list of, well, it's probably an incomplete list, but 34 reasons humans are not more advanced. And I'm, I'm focusing primarily on technology here. However, this does apply to other aspects of the human experience, such as our mindset, for example, and also the way we react to things and how able we are to overcome the primitive parts of our brains to allow us to achieve our potentials. Um, some of these are self-explanatory, and some I'll try to be very brief about explaining. If there's anything you have a question about, please leave a comment and I'll try to respond. So first of all is greed. I think greed often gets in the way of our advancement because people become selfish. Number two is disinformation and propaganda campaigns. For example, flat earth, anti-vaxxers, anti-face masks, and all that. Those are just some examples. There are a lot of websites out there and user accounts on social media that are designed specifically to spread lies. And some of them are doing it because of a specific reason, and others are doing it just because they think it's fun or it's going to benefit them financially or something like that. Number three, restriction of knowledge. This means that some knowledge is not universally available to people. Some of it might be because it's dangerous knowledge. Some of it might be because it's dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Some of it might be because it's got some other valid reason, but a lot of times there's a restriction of knowledge because to avoid people, for example, if there is not a patent, then somebody could take your invention and make it better and sell it, and then you'd be out all the time and effort and money that you put into it. I think there are ways around that, but that's just an example. Number four, there's uneven access to knowledge. Number five, there's false knowledge that persists after it's been discovered to be false. Because when something's discovered to be false, it isn't universally, or globally I should say, announced to all humans to make sure they all know. And even if it were, humans would forget. Especially if that false knowledge has been seeded in their brains alongside of emotional triggering. 6, imperfect logic. Yes, we don't all think as clearly as Spock and the other Vulcans on Star Trek. 7, competition, because sometimes it is wasteful. It wastes our time, it wastes resources, when collaboration can sometimes result in better and faster results. And there are other times, of course, when competition has taken us to great lengths, such as the competition between Russia and America to be the first in space and the first to the moon and so on. Another one is number 8, the destruction of knowledge. There has been throughout history, especially because of wars, but also civil unrest, times where great storehouses of knowledge have been destroyed for one reason or another. Sometimes just to set back that particular society, to keep it from competing against the invaders. Sometimes because the knowledge is considered to be anathema or otherwise unacceptable. Sometimes just ignorance and stupidity. Number 9, ethical restrictions. There may be things like when cloning first became a science, there was a lot of ethical restrictions to it. In America, there are still lots of restrictions. In some other countries, there are not. But ethical restrictions certainly can pose a significant barrier. I'm not suggesting we shouldn't have ethics. I strongly believe in ethics. Number 10, lack of funding. Number 11, counter-advancement through espionage and sabotage. So when one company or group or nation, for example, uses espionage and sabotage to set their opponents on a false lead, or to make them lose information and research that they've got, and so on and so forth. 12, there may be political motivations. 13, looting and razing. Again, this is related to destruction of knowledge, number 8. 14, lack of unification at any significant level in the human experience. If you haven't noticed, we are, as a species, even if you go down to the family unit or the community or the neighborhood or the country, there's a constant lack of unification. Even in the face of destruction, there will be people who will betray their fellow humans. 15 is nationalism. 16, political borders. Because this is our knowledge, they can't have it. 17, ideologies that reject advancement. Again, flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, that sort of thing. 18, the misuse of technology that creates fear of technology. 19, the psychological resistance to change. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people out there that when a change comes along, they just flat out refuse it. Now, sometimes it's just because of advanced age combined with like dementia or something like that. And sometimes it's a matter of low intelligence. Sometimes it's a psychologically based problem. But there are different reasons for it. But it is true that many people resist change. Number 20, poor mindset or negativity. I can't do this. This is too difficult. That kind of thing. 21, peer sabotage, where you've got somebody in your company, for example, that is doing what they can to keep you from succeeding while trying to steal your data so that they can become successful, which apparently happens quite often in the scientific community. 22, deliberate application by groups, companies, organizations, and governments of Machiavellian principles and Sun Tzu's art of war principles to discourage, hamper, demoralize, trick, manipulate, and otherwise negatively impact others. Number 23, the proprietary view of ideas and inventions. Now again, I understand that if you spend a lot of time and money inventing something, you should get recompense. I hold that is important. And yet when we look at companies that file patents on behalf of their employees, the employees walk away with almost always little to nothing. And the company is the one that holds the patent. So kind of contradictory. 24, lack of support. You may have a great idea, but you can't find anybody who's willing to give you any kind of support, even if it's just moral support. This ties in with the resistance to change. People, when they see something that goes against their nature or goes against what they believe in, they will undermine people. 25, laziness. 26, the lack of vision. 27, one common place where everyone has access to all of humanity's accumulated knowledge, with everyone having the tools, training, and understanding necessary to access it. For example, the internet. There's a whole lot of crap on the internet. Bad information. Now, I'm not even talking about the stupid videos that are just mindless entertainment that you'll find on YouTube and Dailymotion and stuff. I'm talking about a place where we can go where we know for certain that the information we're accessing is factual, it is accurate. Because you go on the internet, holy crap, there are a whole bunch of websites out there full of bad information. Whole bunch of videos, whole bunch of podcasts and audios and so on. Number 28, poor education, whether it is deliberately substandard or not, especially when driven by a desire to create workers instead of help everyone achieve their potential, or to indoctrinate people with certain beliefs that are contrary to empirically proven facts, laws, and axioms. An axiom is a step above a law, if you've never heard that. 29, increasing social economic disparity within many countries between the richest and the rest. 30. Corruption, nepotism, and cronyism. I once had a discussion with a group of Korean managers and above at LG Philips in Cibitung, which is just east of Jakarta. And we made a list of problems, and then we decided what was the root of each of those problems. And we discovered that in almost all cases, the problems were rooted in, the problems that we listed were rooted in those three, in the corruption in its various forms. 31. Lack of appropriate knowledge being available to everyone, which ties in with one common place for it. 32. Divisions caused by political, religious, cultural, and other ideological differences. Because when you've got different groups that don't even agree on what's real, well, how can you unify, right? 33. The promotion of superstition and the supernatural as fact, including false mediums and psychics and their tools and other false beliefs that prevent people from accepting facts that are in opposition to these false beliefs. 34, a different way of problem is the unfair distribution and access to education, healthful food, and health care. We have a lot of very smart people out there who are malnourished from a very young age to the point where they grow up being unable to function the way they would have if they'd had those three things. So these are some reasons. I'm sure that there are others. If you geniuses out there want to give it a shot, I'm sure that you will find other reasons for the reasons that we're not, as a species, more advanced. A lot of it boils down to, ultimately, it's just plain human nature, the negative side of our nature as humans. That causes a lot of these problems. And I honestly think that in order to address most, if not all of these issues, we have to first change human nature, and that is something that would require an incredibly robust and holistic educational system that was designed to bring out the best in everybody, as well as simultaneously tackling the huge problems of abuse, addiction, and so on in the homes that negatively impact people, also in the communities and schools. But anyways, if you have questions about anything that I pointed out in my list here, please do leave something in the comments below. If you're just going to slam me and call me an idiot or something like that, just know that I'm just going to flag you and you're going to disappear. So don't bother. Don't waste your time, because I'm not going to waste more than a couple of seconds on deleting your comments. Thank you very much. Looking forward to contributions from you. Have a great day.